hit this launch instance.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, what we're doing is after we get here, we're going to pick our AMI. And the AMI is it's the same thing as your operating system. Well, let's look at it like that for now. It's the same thing as our OS. So we want a Windows OS and we want a Linux OS.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Voice.
Hold on.
Excellent.
Let me
Yes,
mute
it's
somebody.
excellent.
So
Excellent.
somebody not muted.
I'm doing good. How are you?
Who's that? Io. You're just a jackass. So, so, so we want a Linux OS and we want a Windows OS. So let's start with the Linux OS first. So Linux right here is, and we want free tier eligible because you don't want to get charged if you don't have to. So
Yeah.
this one is good. Is the same AMI that we're using for the Cyber Thursdays. Same one I use for the class too. So we're gonna hit select, and just for your information, this right here, this AMI is a CentOS operating system. It's a type of Linux operating system.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you need to know that, but eventually, like when you really get, if you want to get technical with it, it matters later. So in here, we're gonna pick the instance type. I don't want you to get uh, confused by all of this. This is just your resources. How how much juice do you want to give your machine? Do you want to give it enough to where it's operating at a moderate level on the network? And we can see network performance here. We want it to be moderate. If we want it to be super fast on the network, we just keep scrolling down. If we want to just be satisfied with one CPU, which you don't really need to know, even for the Security Plus, for the exam, we're just gonna hit basic. Like I said, we just hit everything basic. Next, configure instance details. These details here, don't worry about them. I like to go through them and tell people what they are. Um, you're not expected to know this for an exam. This is just good knowledge. You can actually just hit review and launch and go to the end. One thing I do like to tell people is that this launch auto scaling group is going to give you good interview cool points because what it's doing is it's actually what we're doing now, creating machines.
Mm-hmm.
This auto scaling group is going to do that for you depending on what's going on. It's like a robot in a sense. So let's say you have at 6 p.m. you get a whole bunch of traffic to your web server and it crashes the web server every day at 6 p.m. Well, you can tell this auto scaling group, hey, every time we get that amount of web traffic, that's enough to crash one server. I want you to create another server to help it out to balance the load.
All right. So it's scaling horizontally then.
Exactly, exactly. See, you already know the technical term. It's scaling horizontally. So it's provisioning servers based off of a policy. Um, and it's cool interview points because a lot of people like automation. They like things that are scalable. And then this network details is pretty much if you want to, and I'm not going to open it up because I don't need everybody seeing all my private networks, but if you want to put your machine on a specific network, like you're scheduling, you're configuring something special and you want everybody to talk on one network and you want all your blue boxes on another network, you would
Mm-hmm.
do that over here under networks. And the last thing I like to talk about is this IAM row. These are your permissions. So I don't know if you heard the scenario when we were talking about the web server and the database server and how they
Yeah.
talk to
Yeah.
each other. So these permissions, if your web server is getting information from your database server, it needs permissions to do that. It can't just do it on its own. So this is where we would set that up. You can have a something called admin access or web server access or database server access. And whatever the permission is allowing the system to do, it's going to let it do it. So if you need permissions, this is where you would set it up at.
Okay.
And everything else is really good if you're trying to be an AWS architect. We can go into that later. Uh, it's pretty boring too. So next we're gonna add storage, and we want to keep it normal. I like to go over the different types of storage because it's good for system administrators or people coming into the field just to know because you're gonna hear it a lot. We have uh, GP2s, general purpose SSDs. We have provision IOPS SSDs, and we have magnetic. Magnetic is legacy. When we say legacy, we're talking about old.
Mm-hmm.
And magnetic is like your actual fat, chunky hardware type of storage.
Okay.
General purpose SSDs. These are solid state SSDs. Some people just say SSD is solid state. I usually say solid state. I just started saying SSD, but solid state is your all-purpose type of storage. You can use it for most of the things you're ever going to work with. And when we're talking about the differences between general SSDs and provision solid state, is that provision runs a lot faster. General purpose is it's not as fast. And when I'm saying fast, let's go back to that database and web server example. Every time your web server is making a request to the database has to read the request, and it's probably going to have to write something.
Mm-hmm.
Read, write, read, write, read, write. That takes time. So provision IOPS has the read write is a lot faster, super faster. It's for database service. So if you're setting up a database service, you want to get a provision IOPS SSD because the read write operation is super fast. General purpose, if you really don't care, you just need something to run like we do, we're just gonna give it your regular solid state SSD. So that's the difference. It's speed, effectiveness. This is super fast and super expensive. This is fast. This is old. And it's here just in case you were trying to connect the old system here. And another thing you could do is encrypt it, which we're not going to do. I think that takes you out of the free tier. So
Mm.
next tags, you don't have to do these, but I like to do the tags because when you
This
see
is
all the
just for
questions,
identifying or some.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And it's exactly for identifying. Anytime you're going to see tags everywhere in security, everywhere in information technology, and it's because it gives you a good description. And I always tell new people to remember key value pairs. You're always going to see that. The key, put a name for this real quick before I forget this. The key is pretty much a label. It's the label. And the value is the value. It's what the label represents. So the label here is name. The key is name. The value for name is cyber talk. We can have a different value called Cyber Thursdays with another name tag. We can do a different tag and call it OS type. This is what do we do? Linux. We can have another name tag, um, usage, Cyber Thursdays. It's just a bunch of different name tags. You can just look them all as name tags, but they're always going to be in key value pairs no matter where you go. Key value pairs.
All right.
So, next, security groups. This is your network firewall rule. So everything under here is considered to be in an ACL, an access control list. So for this server, and we're gonna go into all the different. There's like main firewall rule. I mean, there are main ports that you want to know, and we're gonna go into all of that. But here, we're opening door 22, port 22, so that you can connect into your system using this door. You're going to use this door and drive in this car, SSH. SSH is your car. Door is 22. This car and this door, they're pairs. SSH can only drive through this door. It can't drive through port 21. It can't drive through port 3389. It can't drive through port 80, port 53, port 25, port 23. It can't. It can only drive through port 22. And this is the door that we need to remote log into our machine because that's what SSH does. This car is for remote logins. And it's remote logins because AWS is in the cloud. It's not physically near us. So you can give a description for this rule. You put remote login. I like to give a description for most things. Be descriptive as possible. You can even change this name here. I'm going to select one of my groups. I don't don't want to have too many groups. And then we're going to hit review and launch. And you're just going to get just an overview of all your rules that you have set up. And if you need to go through it to make sure you have everything set up right, you're going to hit launch. I'm not going to hit launch. I don't want that machine. And after you hit launch, if you come back here to launch instance, I'll show you how to do the Windows OS. It's the same thing. You're just picking a different AMI. And then for the, just let me know when you're back at this screen so I could take you through the Windows OS. This is capture the flag competition. Capture the flag is like a. Capture the flag is like it's like
You gotta race to a certain directory or something.
Yeah, you gotta race and hack that directory first. Whoever can hack it first. It's not really who can do it first, just who can do it. You gotta get the secret password in the file and share it with everybody and say, "Hey, I did it." I don't want everybody. So the Windows one, we're gonna hit launch instant. We're gonna type in Windows, so we can get a Windows operating system. Hit enter. We'll just pick the first one, Windows Server 2019. Same thing. I'm gonna pick T2 Micro. Free tier eligible. We don't need anything crazy. I could even hit review and launch. It's gonna take me through the end. You know? And I can go back a few buttons so I can add my name tag. I can make sure my security group looks right. So for Windows, we need this remote login door. On Linux, the remote login door is 22. On Windows, the remote login door is 3389, which is RDP. This vehicle can only go through this door. It can't go through any other door. So RDP is always going to be 3389. SSH is always going to be port 22. Description. This source right here is pretty much, hey, it's saying, who do you want to log into this machine? I always tell people to put their public IP address. Obviously, I'm not going to show everybody how to get it because you're going to see my public IP address and then you'll be able to, you can try to hack me. But I'll tell you right now, if I catch anybody trying to hack me, I'm going to ruin it. And I have the capabilities of ruining people's lives. Don't do that. It's not nice. Put your public IP address. You go into Google, you type in what is my IP, and it's going to say your IP. And AWS is going to do the CIDR notation, which is this slash, which you don't really need to be an expert with or even know, but it's going to do it for you. So I'm going to look at it, make sure everything is right, and then going to log in. You're going to launch it. And they should take like 5 minutes to finish running. And after they do, to connect into it, it's pretty straightforward for the Windows operating system. For the Linux one, if you can't do it, I wish those videos were ready right now. I mean, I wish I could edit it myself. I would, but my skill set doesn't go that far. So, and I wish he did, but he has a lot of videos he's working on, so it's probably my fault. But I wish once that's done, I'll send it out. Just to log into it, you would just hit connect, and it's not going to let me do it now because my machines aren't running. You would hit connect, and for the Windows, it's going to ask you for your private key that you made. Oh, we didn't go through that part because I didn't launch it. When you launch it, it's going to ask you to make a private key.
Yeah, it asked me to create. Yeah, it did that.
Okay, so you're going to use, for Windows, you're going to use, when you hit connect, it's going to say, hey, get password. And you're going to get password by telling Windows where your private key is. That's how you're going to decrypt the password. And when you decrypt it, you're going to copy it and paste it and then download the remote desktop file and log in. The remote desktop file is just, it's really just another RDP session right here. That's all it is. So you're going to do that. You're going to log in, but this is already going to be set up for you. You're You're gonna log in, use the password that you just decrypted, and it's gonna let you use it. For Linux, you're going to, if you're on a Windows operating system, you're going to use PuTTY.
Buddy.
You're going to type in okay, ec2-user at whatever your IP address is. And what you're also going to do, because if you hit open and you try to connect, it's not going to work because just like Windows, it's looking for your private key. So you got to open up this SSH or expand this SSH tab, hit authentication, which is auth for short, hit browse and tell it where your private key is.
Yeah.
And then it's going to let you log in. And then what's cool about PuTTY, you can save that session. You just type in a name here.
Pick up profile.
Yeah, and then save it. But I wouldn't. I think I said I recommend it for everybody, but don't do it because it's really not gonna matter. Because every time you I mean, I guess you can, but just to get
Yeah,
used to using
I'm assuming that it's doing dynamic IP, so that's going to change.
exactly. Unless you pay for it, you're not gonna get a static IP, so you're always gonna have to change this IP address anyway.
Yeah.
The only benefit is that you don't have to go back down here and pick off your private key, but I just do it just to do it. So, but yeah, you're right. It sounds like you got a lot more experience than that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already in the IT field. I have no experience on networking or security.
What were you doing, bro? I never knew you were in IT.
Yeah. I do app support. So beforehand, I was supporting a bunch of HP products. Then they got bought out by Micro Focus. Now my company is replacing those with ServiceNow. So spinning that up.
That's what's up, man. Shit, I never knew. Yeah, so you're gonna be golden because you got the experience. If you wanted to get certified, man, you probably know just as I do. You're gonna double your salary with the certification.
Hmm.
So that's what's up. I never knew you were in IT this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get you certified, bro.
What I'm trying to do is get my brother on here. Told him about this, and he came out of Laurel High School with some certification, and he was interested in cybersecurity. I'm trying to get him up on this because he BSing with school. So
Man, look, I was just talking to a freshman at Bowie just a few hours ago. He's a freshman at Bowie. He's signing up for the June course. If you're a little like, bruh, I wish I could go back and start over. Like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Like, if your brother get this course and then got security plus certified, he's still gonna be making six figures, man, before he even got to like 24. He's in high school.
that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to set him up so he's gonna be better than me. But he hard headed, so we'll see.
It's gonna be sweet. Like the freshman at Bowie, he's gonna be hitting six figures before he's a sophomore, man. Like, you start that young, you know what's gonna happen. Like, they're gonna go crazy with the money at first. I know they are. Like, but it's a good
Yeah.
thing. Shit, when I got the money, I went crazy. I hired a chef.
I can testify to that.
See, you can testify. They know, bro. Like, I went stupid crazy. Like, that's a lot of money, and that's a high school. He can set himself up. And then if he doesn't want to go to college, I recommend he does.
Well, he already did like a couple of semesters at PG. The only thing, like, I don't know where the hell he is. So I don't know, credit wise, I don't know if he's a freshman. I don't know if he's a sophomore.
I don't think anybody does when they go to PG.
Yeah.
It's like hard to keep up with it until somebody grabs you by the neck, like, "Hey, you need to get out of here." And then you know
Exactly. So trying to make that a non-factor and get him into this joint.
Hopefully he does, man. Hopefully he does. Even if he don't, I just hope he just gets in, capitalizes on the security side because we need more people like us here. Like,
Word.
I didn't start seeing black people until I got up the ranks, and then those black people weren't really bringing other people, and not that it really matters to me, but I still care. Like, if you're not bringing them up, okay, cool. I'm not holding it against you. But there's so much room for us here. It's like, why aren't we bringing each other up? Like,
Exactly.
In the door, because that's what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, in my field, I mostly work with Indians.
Exactly. It's either Indians or white people. That's it. You know. It's either Indians or white people, and then the Indians already feel some type of way about us, and then it's like it's weird, bro. It's weird because this is the only field where we're actually, well, that I've experienced that we're welcomed. You know, we're welcomed here. Like when I was in
Hmm.
criminal justice, I couldn't have locks in criminal justice.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
When I had locks back in school, like before I went over,
yeah.
yeah, I couldn't have locks being in criminal justice. Over here, I got my locks back. I'm tatted up. You know, it's a guy with pink hair. It's a guy with like pink nails, and another guy that wears heels. Like they don't care. You're welcome here. Your lifestyle is you do what you do. You know, just get the work done.
Exactly.
Shit, this one dude said, "Shit, y'all can come in here and drink beer." Like when we was on the live earlier, Tariq was. I don't know if you're into gaming and everything, but I used to consult for one of my clients was P76. It's a gaming company for that made
Okay.
Fallout. Yeah, and over there, you know, they're not in the private sector, they're public. So they got beer kegs in the office.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they got beer kegs in the office. And I'm not a beer drinker, so I never drank with them when I came down to Texas, but it was that's what they did, you know. And they got fucked up.
That's
They did
wild.
a job though, but after 5:30 they was getting turned up.
That's wild.
That's just
Yeah. My
that's just
place
how I
ain't
feel,
that
man.
loose. Cause I work for I work for an energy company.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I work for Exelon.
Oh shit. You know what?
Mhm.
Damn, that's what's up. That's what's up, bro. I've been doing a lot of Splunk consulting lately, man.
I just started hearing about Splunk because with ServiceNow they're trying to connect to that so we could do alert and event management.
Yeah,
So
cause
that's what I'm saying. Like I have experience in IT, but I have no experience whatsoever in like security and anything like that. So just trying to expand.
I think we have an add-on for service now with Splunk, so it shouldn't be that difficult of a transition for y'all. If y'all can just find the add-on, you just Google it on Splunk base, you should be able to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Splunking is cool, bro. That's my baby. Mm, baby right now. That's why Amazon charged me $80 last week because I forgot to turn off my Splunk service.
Damn.
Yeah, but that was for the month. So I guess I
Okay.
take
Okay.
this
Okay.
at the end of the month. They not gonna give me again though.
So with Amazon, do you take all your services off every night? Are you
Over here, yeah, like on this account that I'm on, yeah.
okay?
On my other one, I gotta leave it running for the business. I use AWS as a backbone for the business. We have an Active Directory service on all this stuff. I stood up myself and I secured it myself. Like it's running. I don't want to say all this types of application service we got, but we got a whole bunch of different application service, and I don't want certain IPs to be dynamic just
Mm.
because it's like a domino effect. The rest of them are connecting back to it. Like the AD controllers, you don't want dynamic AD controllers. Then where are your AD controllers ever going to be every day? They're going to keep changing.
Ah.
When I say AD controller, though, so you got your Active Directory that
Yeah.
stores all your usernames and your computers and all that good stuff. Those that Active Directory is those permissions are going out on the AD controller. It's just an application server. It's just an Active Directory controller that controls your Active Directory. So if that IP is always changing, your Active Directory or the service that your AD is sitting on has to talk back to the controller, or the controller has to talk to it. It's going to keep losing it. So you're going to have to keep going back in to configure a new IP address every single time, a new host name. I mean, you could probably switch it. I could put a host name there.
Yeah, I'm about to say the only way would be capture a DNS and let it do it that way.
Yeah, with like a load balancer to just point to
Mhm.
the DNS. But then I would have to pay for that, you know.
Every piece of infrastructure you paying $1 for it. Definitely.
Exactly. Like everybody, don't get me wrong. A lot of people used to say, and this is cool interview points, and the people be like, "Oh yeah, AWS is cheap. AWS is cheap." It's cheap to onboard your data into AWS. It ain't cheap to maintain the motherfucker. That's what they don't tell you. It's cheap to onboard. It ain't cheap to maintain. So, but Yeah, man. Let me let y'all go. I need to hop on this capture the flag. Man. I gotta get this flag, bro.
Bet, yeah. Appreciate you, man.
All right, y'all. Appreciate everybody who's still online. Mr. Brown House, Mr. Akeem. Y'all have a good night, man.
All right, bro.
Thank you, Jason.
No problem. Thank you.